Gentlemen, today I want to talk about the death of the covenant. What happens when the neck refuses to hold the head? I'm borrowing from the biblical analogy or metaphor of the wife being the neck and the husband being the head. So imagine two fathers standing up on the opposite sides of time. One of them is in 1987. We are going to call him Karaoke. We're going to call him Karaoke. So Karaoke comes home from the factory one day. His tie is loosened. His dignity is heavy in his hands. The plant, that's the factory where he was working, it has shut down. He's lost his job. No severance pay, no savings, no warnings. And yet, as he sinks into his silence, his wife, Mama Wanjiku, she lights the kerosene lamp. She rolls up her sleeves and she begins to sew. She fries mandazi before dawn. She hauls maize from shags. And she stitches the family's survival together with faith and grit. She does not abandon sheep. She rows harder. The covenant holds. Fast forward to 2025. Same city, different covenant. The new wife earns 1.8 times her husband's salary. She has 47,000 Instagram followers and a DM from a fellow who calls himself Kevin in Runda. He is offering her a soft life. 3 months of joblessness and the captain is overboard. Overboard basically means he's thrown overboard. The co-captain, the one who earns 1.4, 1.8 times more salary than the husband, she does not row harder. She updates her Tinder radius. That, gentlemen, is a new order of things. Welcome to the Red Pill lecture that you never signed up for, but desperately need. So, I'm going to talk about the historical covenant and when hypergamy had a break. We normally say that my generation, the Gen Xers, we are among the first men that are dealing with a truly empowered woman. Back then, before us, women stayed in their marriages not because love was pure, but because dependence was real. In the 1970s and in the 1990s, female labor force participation in Kenya, it hovered below 40%. And most married women, they earned less than 30% of household income. This is according to the Kenyan National Bureau of Statistics of 1999. Evolutionary psychologists David Bass and David Schmidt, they observed that across 37 countries, women's mate preferences consistently prioritized men who could provide resources, especially in times of economic stress. It was not romanticism. It is survival biology. This is why I keep reminding men, women are survivors. Women are practicalists forced to be romantics, and men are romantics forced to be practicalists. That is one of the red pill truths. Our mother's loyalty was not a moral virtue, it was an economic necessity. It was not because they loved our fathers. When the man fell, or when the man fell, the woman had no exit ramp. The covenant stood firm because the alternatives were famine or starvation, shame or both. Society stigmatized and rejected divorced women and single mothers. So women try to keep their marriages intact. And that's why we had that saying that says, mwanamke ndio ulinda ndoa. Nowadays, they don't care. So let's look at the millennium fracture when dual incomes created single loyalties. Today, urban Kenyan women out-earn their husbands in 38% of the households. This is according to the 2022 Kenya National Bureau of Standards. Across the world, the same pattern repeats. We had the Pew Research Center report that marriages, this is a report of 2020, it reported that marriages where the woman is a primary breadwinner, they face 50% higher risk of divorce. This is what we talk about, dual incomes that created single loyalties. So why is this? It's because economic independence releases the evolutionary brake on hypergamy. The instinct to seek a better deal resurfaces when survival is no longer tied to loyalty. Okay? That is what is happening. So even our leaders have acknowledged it. On the Madaraka Day of 2022, President Uhuru Kenyatta noted that single mother households in Kenya had risen by 42% in just a decade, largely due to female-initiated separations. And Ruto also echoed this. This is one of the reasons why my book, Unplugged, has been the Nairobi bestseller from 2022 to date. It is because there's a problem in the society, and this book is tackling that problem that men are facing. Across the Atlantic, in the US, we have the US Census Bureau report of 2021, which reveals that 40% of single mothers have never been married. 40%. It means out of every 10 women in the US, of course, most of these are black women particularly, out of every 10 women, 4 of them have a child and they have never been married. Okay? The late Kevin Samuels often said it plainly. He said that modern women treat marriage like an elective, not a covenant or a necessity. The data doesn't lie. The millennium shattered the old contract, replacing interdependence with independence and obligation with options. So let's look at the social media accelerator, which is a digital hypergamy on steroids. Gentlemen, if you're enjoying this video, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share it. When you subscribe, you'll always be notified when I drop new content. Also, when you like and share, you help this channel to grow, and more importantly, you help other men to discover the tools that they need to level up. So remember, when one man rises, we all rise. Now let's get back to the video. Every soft life post is a mating resume. Every like is a validation cue. A 2023 study in Evolutionary Psychology Science Journal, it found that women with public Instagram accounts receive 3 to 5 high value male solicitations per week. This is according to Bart et al. 3 to 5. This means that the average unemployed husband isn't just competing with the local men. He is competing with curated fantasies, sliding into DMs from Dubai to London. And no fault divorce laws imported wholesale from the West. If you add this to that equation, divorce becomes the next option instantly. She can leave for irreconcilable differences faster than you can say branch COVID. Digital validation has replaced marital commitment. The dopamine of likes is more intoxicating than the duty of loyalty. So let's look at the red pill prescription and how we can reforge masculine value. So the lesson is not despair, gentlemen. It is design. The first thing you have to do is you need to vet for loyalty under stress, not comfort in surplus. A woman who says that my money is mine will, in good times, she's likely going to say that my life is mine in bad ones. So if she tells you that my money is mine during the good times, during the bad times she will say my life is mine, and she will leave. Test for values where the lights flicker, not when the champagne flows. Second thing you have to do is you need to build an anti-fragile value. Anti-fragility is spoken about by Nassim Nicholas Taleb in his book Anti-Fragile. So that 1987 father, he had authority because the family needed him. The 2025 man must have authority because he commands respect. Lead beyond your paycheck. Be your own emotional anchor. Hold your frame. Be the steady hand when chaos reigns. The third thing you need to do is you reject the stepfather script. According to the CDC report of 2022, CDC is the Center for Disease Control. This report reports that children in stepfather households, they face 8 to 10 times higher risk of physical abuse. Do not sacrifice your legacy on someone else's altar of broken choices. So the modern man must evolve, not to beg for loyalty, but to build a life that cannot be dismantled by disloyalty. So, gentlemen, we need to reflect. You can even close your eyes and listen to my voice. Picture Mzee Karaoke staring at the cold supper, pride bruised, but family intact. The lights flickered, but they stayed on. The ugali was thin, but it was shared. Now picture your son watching you beg for intimacy while she scrolls through soft life reels. Feel that hollow in your chest. That is not pain. That is recognition. So I'll give you some challenging questions. If you lost your job tomorrow, will your woman fry mandazi at dawn? Or will she update her Tinder radius by 10 kilometers? Are you building a life so fragile, so anti-fragile, that her hypergamy cannot eject you? Or are you still auditioning for a role that she can recast? When she says, I don't need a man, do you argue with her biology? Or do you become the man that she cannot replace? So, gentlemen, the covenant may be broken, but masculinity is not dead. The neck still supports the head, but only when the head refuses to be dead weight. So, class dismissed. And I'll see you on the next one.